Hi, this is Ty Bennett, the author of The Power of Influence and the Power of Storytelling. This morning, I'm going to be speaking to an organization and sharing some ideas around the psychology of customer relations. But I wanted to break down that psychology for you in this video. Before I do that, let me give you two thoughts to think about as we dive into this concept. Number one, I believe that we live in a world for storytellers. What do I mean by that? I think that we live in a world where when people have experiences, good or bad, they go out and they share your story. They take to social media, they share it with their friends. We're in a very referral-based economy. We seek each other's opinions and we can share those very easily. So what does that mean for you and I in business? It means that we have to provide incredible experiences so that those are the experiences that are being shared. Second point, I get a chance to speak to organizations in all sorts of industries, from real estate to financial services to food service to retail to distribution to direct sales. It doesn't matter. All businesses are based on two criteria. Number one is volume and number two is retention. Think about it, every business comes down to volume and retention. In essence, it's how many people can you get in the door and how often do they come back. That's an important thing to understand because it's going to directly impact the psychology of how we look at the customer service we provide and the relationships that we build. So when we look at the psychology of customer service or customer relations, I think there's a couple things we need to keep in mind. Let's just break down customer service to start. I think there's 4 levels of customer service. On level 1, we have assumed needs. This is your basic level of customer service. When you go into, an establishment, you expect that somebody's going to be there to greet you, to help you. There's some assumed basic needs. Have you ever gone to maybe a restaurant or a store and you walked in and you stood there and nobody showed up to help you, right? They failed at level 1. They didn't even show up to meet those basic assumed needs. At level 2, there's some expected needs. There's some things that we hope or we expect are going to happen where we're going to be taken care of in a good way. At level 1 and level 2, we're not doing anything earth-shattering. But the problem is if we fail at level 1 or level 2, we create a big problem for ourselves moving forward. At level 3, we begin to impress, and this is where we start to make an impact. This is where we start to move from good to great. This is where you start to make a name for yourself. And at level 4, we amaze customers. When you can have an amazing experience, when you can provide that type of experience, that's the kind of experience that people are going to share with people. It makes you stand out, it makes you distinct and unique, and that's what we're striving for. Now that we understand the 4 levels of customer service, let's look at how that impacts volume and retention, right? All business is based on those 2 criteria. Well, obviously at level 1, you're not going to have any major volume, you're not going to have any retention, and it makes it hard to stay in business at that level, so we have to start to move up the ladder and provide better products, better customer service. At level 2, we start to maybe increase a little bit of volume, possible retention. People might come back because you met the expected needs, but we really need to move to the level of impressing people where we start to increase that volume. We start to have probable retention. People are going to come back more often because they had a good experience, because they like the service that they're being provided. But when we amaze people, what we create is guaranteed volume and guaranteed retention. This is where your business becomes solid. It creates sustainable and predictable revenue for your organization, and you can start to move your business forward on an ongoing basis. And now let's look at the 4th column of this psychology, and that is the relationship. This is the most important part, right? I believe we're in the people business, regardless of what business you're in, and building relationships with your customers, your clients, is essential. Well, at level 1, you have a transactional relationship. They come to you because it may be convenient, it happened, but there's no loyalty, there's no camaraderie, there's no real relationship there. That transaction happened and it may not happen again. At level 2, you start to have an acquaintance. They know who you are, you know who they are. There's maybe a spark of a relationship, but we've got to take it to level 3 where we start to build that relationship. This is where we start to provide better service. This is where we start to get to know them. We do some things that are substantial. They like us, they're more likely to come back. And at level 4, if we can amaze people, what you create is a loyal customer. You create a friend. You create the kind of person who's going to come to you ongoing for your business. You create the kind of person who's going to become a brand ambassador. They're going to share your story, right? They're going to go out and promote you because they love what you've provided for them. If you look at the overall picture of what this psychology looks like, what we're talking about is as we provide better experiences for our people, we're going to impact the volume and retention of our business, and we're going to change the nature of the relationship. That's why it's so important to understand this, because when you can look at the big picture of the psychology, you can then start to implement action items and put those in place. That's what I like to share, is this big picture, and then break down how we can do that and give your teams ideas to implement that to truly amaze your customers and change the nature of the relationship.